Inside 412, Boston's most exclusive restaurant, crystal glasses clink softly, and the wine list boasts more French than English. The air hums with control, an unspoken rule that nothing unexpected ever disrupts the polished rhythm of the elite. Jordan Ellison, billionaire founder of Ellison Equity, sits at a corner table, scrolling his phone, enduring another dinner for the sake of appearances. His suit is tailored, his attention elsewhere. Around him, diners in pearls and tuxedos murmur deals and gossip, their voices a low drone beneath the chandelier's gleam. The waitstaff glide like shadows, invisible until needed. Then a small figure rises. Eli, Jordan's 9-year-old son, legs caged in aluminum braces, stands trembling at the table. The room doesn't notice at first. A woman in pearls grips her glass tighter, her whisper cutting through. "Who let that child stand up like that?" Eli's voice, small but steady, slices the silence. He turns to Nia Carter, the only black server on the floor, her tray balanced with practiced ease. "Will you dance with me?" Cutlery freezes midair. Conversations stall. A man in a tuxedo leans to his companion, muttering, "Who does she think she is to even be asked?" The manager's voice cracks like a whip. "Sir, please control your son." But Nia's eyes don't waver. They flicker, weighing a dozen invisible rules, class, race, hierarchy, all pressing down in that single moment. Nia sets her tray on a side table, her movements deliberate. She unties her apron, folding it neatly, and lets it rest beside the tray. A faint smile curves her lips. "I don't dance in uniform," she says, her voice calm but carrying a weight that silences the room further. Eli nods, as if he understands something far beyond his years. Jordan bolts upright, his chair scraping harshly against the polished oak floor. "What are you doing?" he demands, his tone sharp, almost desperate. Nia meets his gaze, unflinching, accepting an invitation. She extends her hand to Eli, who takes it with a trembling grip. They move to the center of the room. No music, no choreography, just Eli's uneven steps scuffing the floor, the faint squeak of his braces echoing in the stillness. Nia doesn't lead or correct. She matches his pace, slow and patient, her presence steady as his small frame sways. A woman in a cocktail dress hisses to her husband, "She'll be fired by morning." Another diner averts his eyes, uncomfortable with the breach of decorum. But the moment, fragile, raw, lands louder than any applause that never comes. Eli manages 3 steps, his face flushed with effort and pride. Nia guides him back to the table, kneeling to his level. "Thank you for asking me," she says, her tone as formal as if they were at a gala. Eli grins, red-cheeked, glowing with a joy Jordan hasn't seen since the accident that changed everything. The air in 412 grows heavy, thick with unspoken judgments. The manager strides toward Nia, heels clicking, her voice low but sharp enough to carry, "You'll lose your job for this." Nia exhales slowly, her apron still folded on the tray like a quiet act of defiance. Her eyes stay locked on Eli, who clings to her hand, his steps halting but resolute. Jordan stands frozen, his gaze fixed on his son's braced legs dragging forward, the metal faintly creaking with each movement. Nia doesn't steady Eli, doesn't crouch to help, just moves at his pace. Patient, fully present. The diner's stares shift from curiosity to unease, their whispers a mix of disapproval and fascination. The pianist, mid-melody, lets his hands hover over the keys, unsure if this moment is allowed to exist. Then, a memory slips past Jordan's carefully built walls. His late wife, Emma, in their old Beacon Hill living room, the fire crackling softly, jazz humming from a record player. She danced with Eli, barely a toddler, guiding his tiny feet with her hands. "It's not about control," she said, smiling down at him. "It's about connection." Jordan hasn't thought of that night in years, not since Emma left for a conference and never came home. His throat tightens, a knot he can't swallow. Eli manages a turn. Not smooth, not graceful, but driven by sheer will. The room remains silent, save for the faint squeak of his braces. Nia smiles softly, guiding him back to their table. "You did great," she whispers, her voice carrying the warmth of a promise kept. Eli's face lights up, a pride Jordan hasn't seen since the accident that stole so much. Jordan sinks into his chair, as if his body no longer knows how to carry its weight. Eli takes a sip of water, his small hands steady despite the effort. He looks at his father, his voice just loud enough to cross the table. "Dad, why didn't you dance with Mom?" The question lands like a blade, sharper than Jordan expects. He opens his mouth, but no words come. Work, stress, the belief that dancing wasn't for men like him, all the excuses feel hollow now. He stares at his son, silent, and in that silence, something inside him doesn't shatter but begins to crack open. That night, he doesn't return to his penthouse. He sits on the balcony, staring at Boston's skyline, the city's lights blurring as he replays Eli's steps in his mind. Not the hesitations he once saw as weakness, but the courage he'd missed. The question echoes. Why didn't you dance with Mom? He has no answer, only the weight of what he's failed to see. Morning breaks, gray and heavy, as Nia Carter steps off the subway. She adjusts the collar of her second-hand blazer, clutching a worn leather tote that's seen better years. The city pulses around her, briefcases swinging, coffee cups steaming, shoes clicking with purpose on the pavement. But her steps remain steady, unhurried. In her hand is a business card, gold embossed, Jordan Ellison. It leads her to Ellison Tower, a 72-story monolith of mirrored glass on Devonshire Street. The lobby smells sterile, like wealth scrubbed clean of flaws, but Nia's scuffed shoes echo defiantly on the marble floor. The receptionist, in a navy suit, glances up with a practiced, unreadable smile. Appointment? Nia Carter, for Mr. Ellison. A few keystrokes, a nod. Elevator B, 18th floor. The ride up is silent, Nia alone in a mirrored box, her reflection shifting as the numbers climb. A sharp-featured assistant in silver heels greets her with a clipped, "Follow me." The hallway is all glass and hushed voices, tailored suits moving charts on screens like they're reshaping destinies. Nia feels the stares, some curious, some cautious. Black women don't often walk these halls, especially not in shoes with worn soles. In a small waiting room, the assistant says, "He's finishing a call. Sit." Nia takes the edge of a leather chair, sitting straight, not fidgeting, not rehearsing. 10 minutes pass before the assistant returns. "Mr. Ellison will see you now." Jordan's office is vast, almost too quiet, with floor-to-ceiling windows framing the city like it's his to command. He stands with his back to her, hands in his pockets, the skyline stretching beyond him. "Miss Carter, thank you for coming," he says without turning. She nods, though he can't see. "You asked me to." He faces her, his expression less polished than the night before, less guarded. "Please," he gestures to a chair. She sits. A deliberate silence follows, the kind meant to unsettle. Nia doesn't fill it. Jordan reaches for a file on his desk, flipping it open. "My team pulled your public records last night. Bachelor's in neuroscience from UMass Boston." Her voice is calm, even, and partial graduate work in motor rehabilitation. "I left to care for my mother." His brow lifts slightly. "And now you're a server?" "3 jobs, she corrects, her tone steady but firm. "Server in the mornings, tutor in the evenings, weekend staff at a community center." He nods slowly, tapping a finger on the file. "Freedom Steps. You co-founded it?" "With my cousin, Kiera." He reads aloud. "A dance-based rehabilitation initiative. Unfunded. At risk of closing." Nia doesn't react. "That's accurate." He looks up, searching her face. "Why didn't you mention any of this last night?" "You didn't ask." Jordan stands, pacing to the window. "I have therapists, specialists with credentials longer than yours." Nia's voice doesn't waver. "Yet none of them danced with your son." He turns sharply. You think what happened last night changed something? No, she says, eyes steady. I think Eli changed something. I was just willing to follow. Jordan sits, leaning back, his fingers still on the file. You knew who I was when I walked into that restaurant. I did. And you still danced with my son. He asked, she says simply. I said yes. He pulls out a checkbook, placing it beside the file. I can fund your program. Nia doesn't glance at it. That's not why I came. You need the money. I need people who believe in what we do. He closes the checkbook, the sound sharp in the quiet room. What do you want from me, Miss Carter? Understanding, she says, her voice clear. Last night wasn't charity or a gesture. It was your son leading, maybe for the first time. I chose not to take that away. Jordan's jaw tightens, his gaze drifting back to the city. For a man used to closing deals with a signature, this conversation feels like walking through fog. No clarity, no control. He clears his throat. Last year, I funded 2 major pediatric rehab centers. Fully staffed, state-of-the-art. You think what you're doing in Dorchester holds up? Nia folds her hands. You built buildings. We build trust. Different blueprints. He flips the file to a page marked with a yellow tab. I've read about your methods. Movement autonomy. Sensory improvisation. Teaching through failure. His tone carries a hint of skepticism. Yes, she replies. Because for some kids, success only comes after falling first. Your therapists measure progress in metrics. I measure it in moments. Jordan's eyes narrow. You applied to the Ellison Foundation 3 times? 3, she confirms. The 3rd proposal never reached you. Your assistant rejected it for lacking institutional clarity standards. He leans back, almost retreating. Why didn't you escalate? I don't beg, Nia says, pausing for a beat. I plan. A flicker of admiration crosses his face. So last night was a setup? She shakes her head. No. Last night was a moment. What I did afterward, that was a decision. He opens another folder, this one with printed photos. Children in wheelchairs dancing, a boy with a prosthetic leg mid-leap, a girl with cerebral palsy laughing among peers. These are from your program? She nods. We don't just teach movement. We teach confidence, autonomy, dignity. He picks up a photo of a girl in a helmet. This one, Amina. She couldn't lift her arms above her shoulders when she started. Now she can do a full spin. He sets the photo down gently, like it suddenly matters more. Why haven't I heard of this until now? Nia's voice stays level. Because when people like me knock on doors, they often stay shut. Not because the idea's weak, but because we're not in the right circles. My degree means nothing in rooms like this without the right last name. Jordan rubs his eyes, exhaling. You think I'm just another locked door? No, she says. I think you've forgotten how to open one. The words hang in the air. If you'd asked for funding today, I might have said yes. That's why I didn't, she replies. Money to silence your discomfort stops mattering when the discomfort fades. I don't need a check. I need a partner who sees the cost of ignoring what's in front of him. Jordan's jaw clenches. You think I've ignored my son? Nia stands, not in defiance but with clarity. I know what it's like to be unseen in rooms like yours, to be underestimated, to be told empathy doesn't scale. But I also know what it's like to watch a kid take a step for the first time. Not because I told them to, but because I got out of their way. She pulls a folded paper from her bag and sets it on the desk. We hold open classes Thursdays, 4 p.m. No charge for first-time families. If Eli wants to come, he's welcome. I won't call or follow up. She turns and leaves. The assistant outside raises an eyebrow, surprised the meeting ended so soon. Jordan sits, staring at the photo of Amina spinning, frozen for a full minute before moving again. That night, Jordan doesn't go home. He drives through Boston streets, no destination, Nia's words looping in his mind. I know what it's like to be unseen. He's heard accusations before. Lawsuits, boardroom betrayals, family grievances through lawyers, but none landed like this, because this one might be true. He replays Eli's steps, not just on the restaurant floor but the invisible ones, the hesitations he mistook for weakness, when maybe they were courage. By dawn, he's parked outside his building, the city asleep. He doesn't sleep, just sits on the balcony, the skyline a silent witness to his thoughts. The next day, he skips meetings, ignores emails, closes his blinds. At 3:45 p.m., he stares at a sticky note. Asterisk Thursday. 4 p.m. Dorchester. Asterisk at 4:05, he's still staring. At 4:20, he stands but doesn't move. That night, Eli asks, "What are we doing tomorrow?" Jordan says, "We'll see," his voice hollow with something he can't name. The next Thursday, Eli makes the choice. He stands at the door, braces fastened, his small frame resolute. "Dad, I want to go where she dances." Jordan opens his mouth, ready to say maybe next time, but Eli's already heading for the elevator. Jordan grabs his keys. They drive through South Boston to Dorchester, where streets narrow, sidewalks crack, and murals tell stories no one paid to hear. Corsteps is an old warehouse, paint peeling, a banner proclaiming, "Your rhythm, your rules." Jordan parks the Bentley, drawing curious glances, not hostile, just out of place. Eli climbs out, one slow step at a time. Inside, the room feels alive. Not loud, not chaotic, just real. Kids move in their own ways. Some clap, some spin, some sway in wheelchairs. Nia spots Eli, kneels to his level, and beams. "You made it." He nods, joining a group of kids circling a speaker. Called it theoretical fluff. Jordan flinches. "I'm sorry." She smirks. "Apology accepted, if you stay till the end." He exhales, disarmed by her bluntness. Time passes, music shifts. Kids rotate through stations. Eli tries a move, falls, laughs, tries again. Then Eli unlatches one brace. Jordan stiffens, his pulse quickening. A staff member steps forward, but Nia raises a hand. "Give him space." Eli's chest rises, weeks of balance drills flashing in his eyes. Every stumble, every retry in Corsteps classes. He breathes out, slow and steady, then steps. One small, barefooted stride, unassisted. The floor creaks under his weight. His knee trembles but holds. The room stills, the air heavy with awe. A young girl claps, her small hands sparking a wave of cheers and stomps from the others. Eli stands frozen, then grins wide and toothy, as if an invisible weight has lifted. Jordan's fists clench, not in anger but to hold back the tears pressing at his eyes. No therapy session ever measured progress like this. No doctor ever said, "Let him try without the brace." Nia steps beside him. "Now you see why I said no?" He nods, unable to speak. "That step," she whispers, "wasn't taught. It was earned." They watch Eli rejoin the circle, leaning lightly on another kid. Not for support, but balance. For the first time in years, Jordan doesn't feel the need to fix anything. He just needs to stay. The next Thursday, Corsteps buzzes with a different energy. 2 news vans park outside. "I want to show them what I can do." Inside, the room hums with quiet coordination. Clipboards, lavalier mics, photographers trying to blend in but failing. Nia approaches, holding a folder. "Vearem a Corsteps logo shirte." "We published our research brief this morning," she says. 3 years of data tracking motor cortex responses in 30 kids with mobility impairments, showing statistically significant gains. Jordan schemes the folder, dense charts, citations, academic rigor. "This is publication level. Set for next quarter," Nia says. "Dr. Camden got it through peer review." A voice calls, "Rolling in 5. Jordan glances at Eli, stretching on a mat with 2 other kids. "He's okay with cameras?" "Ask him," Nia says. Jordan calls, "Eli, press is here. Cameras and all." Eli looks up, thoughtful. "Will they see me walk again?" "Probably." He shrugs. "Then yeah, let them." The music starts and Nia steps back, letting the session unfold. No speeches, just movement. Eli tests a new balance trick, pivoting on one leg, arm extended like a counterweight. A journalist whispers, "Is that the restaurant video kid?" Another nods. Dr. Sonia McAllister, neuroplasticity expert from the National Institute of Child Development, enters, elegant with silver earrings and a tablet. "We've met," she tells Jordan. "You were on the panel that rejected our 2021 funding." He blinks. "That was your work?" "It's all connected," she says. "Your son's part of something bigger than you know." The session flows, kids moving to their own rhythms. Midway, a reporter approaches Nia for an interview. Jordan can't hear the questions, but her posture, measured, articulate, speaks volumes. Then, Eli notices a 6-year-old girl struggling with a stretch. He walks over, not leading but showing, moving slowly so she can follow. She smiles, mimicking him. Jordan watches, then sees Eli balancing, kids cheering him on. No instructions, just joy. He steps forward. "Not for the foundation," he says. "Just as a father." The mic goes live. It's 2 million views. The caption reads, "Billionaire father finds healing in son's dance." The internet debates, genuine or PR? Inside core steps, the questions linger quieter. In parents' whispers, staff's glances. Nia feels the weight, not of pressure but responsibility. By afternoon, more news vans circle. Jordan walks in at 4 p.m., navy coat crisp. Nia hands him a visitor badge. "Press wants a statement." "Here?" he asks. "Only if you're okay with it." She nods. 1 minute. The session begins. Kids easing into motion. Music pulsing gently. Eli stands at the back, hesitant, sensing the cameras. Then he sees the same 6-year-old struggling again. He approaches, demonstrates a move slowly. She follows, grinning. Jordan watches, the invisible thread of connection pulling harder. Eli moves to the center, removes both braces. A staffer starts forward, but Nia shakes her head. Eli stands still, balancing, then moves 3 steps. A turn, a tap, a pause, a dance. The kids stop, not instructed but feeling the shift, and clap. Quiet at first, then louder, stomping in rhythm. Jordan presses a hand to the glass, his breath catching. A reporter calls, "Mr. Ellison, comment on today's performance?" He turns, facing the lens. "I came as a father, not a funder. People ask if this is real, if it's scalable. They're asking the wrong question. The question is, why did a kid in braces have to teach us what freedom looks like?" Flashbulbs erupt. Eli, oblivious, helps the girl off the mat, gentle, like it's no big deal. 3 months later, Corstep's back lot is a construction site. Bulldozers move like a strange ballet, guided by blueprints revised with kids' crayon drawings, block letter notes, and taped-up sketches. Nia, hard hat slightly crooked, reviews a floor plan with Jordan. He points to a shaded area. "We added an incline ramp here. Not regulation grade, but the kids say it's more fun." Nia smiles. "Function over form?" "No," he says, glancing out the trailer window. "Form over fear." Outside, Eli, now in one sleeker brace on his left leg, helps kids paint a mural on plywood fencing. His gait isn't perfect, but his joy is undeniable. "I never thanked you," Jordan says, "for letting Eli fail, for teaching me to step back." Nia chuckles. "You learned faster than most." Eli waves them over. A boy holds a paintbrush wrong, giggling as paint splashes his shoe. Jordan steps forward, then pauses. "He doesn't need me to hold him anymore." "No," Nia says, "but he needs you to show up." Jordan grabs a brush, joining Nia and the kids at the mural. Not to lead, not to teach, but to be there, painting in their rhythm, present for whatever step comes next.